Hey guys, I'm Joyce. Today is Friday, February 2nd, 2024. It's Groundhog Day. And just a note on that, this fun little thing that we do about Groundhog Day is if he sees his shadow, or she, I don't know the gender of the groundhog this year. If they see their shadow, and they go back into their burrow or den, I'm not sure what it's technically considered, then we'll have 6 more weeks of winter. Well, on our calendar, 6 weeks from February 2nd is the first day of spring. So it's funny. And today, at least here in the middle of Missouri, it is gorgeous sunny. So for sure, spring is going to come when it's on the calendar. Anyway, I could take a tip from spring, doing what's on the calendar. Okay, so besides that, another aside before I get into what I really want to talk about, the yesterday's entry that I made, yesterday's video, I was talking about retirement, and I found this really cute meme about retirement. And so I used that for my thumbnail. Well, and then I saw when it comes up, all you can see is retirement. All you can see is the picture of the guy and retirement. So I'm going to tell you what it actually says. So disappointing. And I tried for half an hour, 15 minutes trying to play with it so that it would fit the whole meme in the thumbnail. I figured I'd just share it with you. So anyway, it says, so if you could enjoy your retirement, that would be great. And I just loved that. I thought it was so perfect. Okay, now on to today's topic. I'm not sure exactly where I want to start, but planning. Let's start with planning. I have learned from Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School how important and valuable planning can be, how much more efficient that I can be, because I've done it twice. How efficient I can be. And oh my God, it feels amazing afterwards. Like, wow, I actually did all of this stuff. I actually accomplished something. I do value it. I really do. However, lately, I've made a list of, and it's a pared down list, but of the most urgent things. And, there's this whole thing about urgent versus important. And when you don't address things, they become urgent, the deadlines and stuff. Then you have to scramble, And I have actually wondered, do I get a rush out of that? Is there some kind of, primal satisfaction in rushing? Oh, hurry, gotta get it done. Maybe the adrenaline or something. It's not a great adrenaline rush, though. I mean, there's an adrenaline rush that comes from maybe skydiving. I haven't tried it. But, things like that. And those are great adrenaline rushes, I think, because the results are great. And maybe it's the mindset. Also, so much is the mindset. It's like you expect it to be fun and exciting, Now, when I'm late for something, yeah, it's exciting for sure, but not fun exciting. It's a kind of terror exciting, a kind of panic exciting. But maybe I've gotten that that positive, negative association. I don't know, that kind of doesn't make sense, but it kind of does to me right now. That it's, I don't know, that I keep doing it like that. But about the planning, I made a relatively pared down list of things that I want to do and things that have become urgent. And I'm like, I've been thinking, and this has been for at least a week that these things have been on my mind, and the planning has been on my mind. I've got to plan that. I've got to plan that. And I found, by just kind of digging in my brain, that I was putting off these things. I was like, no, I can't do that because I've got to plan it. I've got to be efficient with it. I don't want to do it half-assed. And so I just kept putting it off. All of these things, I just kept putting all of them off because, well, I've got to plan them. And that's not working for me. There have been times when, yeah, I can do it. I can do the planning and I can get that done. But for whatever reason, right now, I'm just stuck on the planning part, even getting to the planning, and it's not productive. And I did make notes for myself this time, but right now I'm in overwhelm. I'm in overwhelm about the planning. And so I'm still not getting anything done. And I started, I think yesterday, I decided, you know what? It will be better for me to do something, to make some kind of motion, to take some kind of action. And, that would be better than being frozen about the planning. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick something. I'm just going to go with whatever I'm inspired to do in the moment. And Brooke talks about that. You can create inspiration. You can create motivation. You can create those feelings for yourself if you find the thought that would make you feel inspired, the thought that would make you feel motivated. And honestly, I don't want to work that hard right now. I really don't. I want to put my working energy into actually doing it, into actually doing something on my list. And it's funny, I'm not sure you know what, I think it was the day before yesterday when I was buffering, when I was avoiding making that phone call. And I was just going through video after video after video. And it's not totally mindless. I'm choosing videos that I believe are relevant to me, videos that I think I will learn something from, videos that are interesting to me, or I believe will be interesting to me. But anyway, so I came across these 3 women who, their content focus is on decluttering. And I actually hesitate to use that word decluttering because it puts the focus on the clutter. I didn't check, but it was a couple years ago that I decided, I'm going to do a group of videos on making space and creating a home. Because that's what I want to focus on, is the creating the space. That's a positive association for me. But in order to relay that information to you, decluttering. I think probably most of us know what decluttering is. We understand. But yeah, like I said, I prefer to put the focus on the space that will be created when all of that process is done, even though it's an ongoing process. You have to keep it that way, but it makes space. Okay, so I found myself listening to, watching these videos from these three women. I think it was just two of them really at the time, but then I guess as I was looking through my history, or YouTube was suggesting related things, well, this other lady came up that I've watched several of her videos in the past. These three women, they work together. They have created this course called Take Your Home Back, or Take Back Your Home, Take Back Your House, something like that. And I will put links to their channels, and two of them, okay, the one is Dana K. White. So I'm going to put a link to her actual channel on YouTube. And then I will also put a link, oh, I don't have that on here, but I did make notes on the computer. I will also put a link to the video that that really pulled me into her, because I don't think I've ever watched any of hers before. So I'll put a link to the video that kind of got this going. And then another lady, her name is Cass, and she has the Clutterbug Podcast, just Clutterbug Podcast. So I'll put a link to her YouTube channel, as well as the video that that had some really valuable information for me in it. And then this other woman, her name is Dawn, and she does two. She does The Minimal Mom and The Minimal Mom podcast. So she's the one that I discovered. I've watched several of her videos in the past. So these three women, they work together on this project, on this course. And the one thing, well, anyway, yeah, so talking about just doing something, getting something done and not getting stuck in the planning, for me anyway, it gets some momentum going. It gives me a win, you know, and that's not just, I wanted to say lip service, but it's kind of a common phrase now, is to get a win, get a quick win. But it really works like that in the brain. You know, when you get a win, when you feel good about something, your body releases dopamine. And dopamine is a motivating hormone. When you get a release of dopamine, it tells your brain, hey, we want to do that again. And when I had gotten into making space in my home, this was, I've made a couple of big pushes. So I want to say this was 2 years ago that I made some really big pushes to get where I am now. And I found that, you know, looking around and afterwards, it was kind of addictive. I'm like, oh my God, what else can I get rid of? You know, I was getting really excited about it. It's like, wow, this feels great. You know, not partly the process of actually getting things out of my house, giving them away. And I would rather give stuff away than sell it, because it's just done and it's less work. I don't have to come up with a price. I don't have to put photos online. Although when I give stuff away for free, it does help get more views if you do post it and put pictures and all that. But it's just less work, and that's what I'm wanting to create for myself. In a way, is less work, you know? So it's like, you know what, just get it gone. If I can donate it, then I'll do that. If it's not something that's worth donating, if it's something that needs work, then I'll post it for free and say, look, this needs some serious cleaning, but if you want it, you can have it, and people take it. People, people who are crafty, they like to do thrifting. They love to fix things up. Maybe they'll sell it and make some money. Great. I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for me because it's not in my house anymore. And then, so giving it away, that feels good. It's like giving a gift. And I've learned that you get a rush from that too. When you give someone a gift, it just, if it doesn't feel like an obligation to you, it just feels so good. So I get that hit from giving something to someone. I get a hit from seeing my space clear. It's like, I feel like I can breathe, It's like being congested and not having room in your lungs and your nose to breathe because there's all this mucus and phlegm. And then all the mucus and phlegm is gone and I can breathe. And I feel that way about my space in my home. It's like I can just breathe. I can just think. Space in my home is space in my brain, and I can just think, So I get a hit from that too. It just all feels so good to me. So I really want to do this, because it feels good and because I want to do it anyway, But the first video that came to mind was one of Dana's, and her method of doing this, because other people, everybody has a different method. And so her method starts with when she is making space in her home, she'll pick something up and go, where would I look for this first? If I were looking for this, where would I go to look for it? And that's where she takes it. That's where she decides its home will be. If it doesn't already have a home, where will I look for this first? That's where it's going to go. That's where its home is going to be. And if something else is already there, and she will take it immediately. No setting aside, no sorting piles, because, if she gets distracted or interrupted, and you're doing the pile sorting thing, then you're still not done. And this happens to me a lot. I get distracted a lot. I get interrupted a lot. Usually by my distractions. So I have done this once now, today, and I don't remember what it was, but that's okay. So that's what she does. She takes this thing immediately to where she would look for it first. And then when she gets there, if there is something else in that space, then she makes a decision. Okay, is there still room in this space, comfortable room in this space for this thing to exist also? If there's not, then it's like, okay, something's got to go then. Either this thing that I'm bringing here that I would look for first in this space, either I have to determine another place that I would look for it. Where would I look for it second? Or what about what is already here? Could it maybe go somewhere else? Should it maybe go somewhere else? Or is there more of it than I need in this spot? Like, I think she mentioned like pot holders. If there are pot holders in this space where she wants to put this other thing, does she really need all of these pot holders? Maybe she needs fewer of the pot holders. She downsizes the pot holders, and now all of a sudden there's space for this thing that she will look for first in this place. So anyway, you can check out that video where she explains it more. But that was like amazing to me. And I'm like, I am definitely going to use that. And I know people can argue that, well, you're wasting time if you're doing one thing and you're walking to wherever, then you're coming back. Now the next thing, and you're walking to wherever and putting it and making a decision and coming back. Still, then you've done two things. If you get interrupted, you get distracted, two of those things have been taken care of. And that's two more than before you started. And I'm good with that. Like, that is progress. That is progress. But making piles and hoping that I'll come back to them, the piles are just going to end up being one pile again for me. And I know, absolutely, this is my truth. This is what happens for me, is I just end up with piles again. And so the sorting really did me no good. So I thought this was amazing. I love this idea. Definitely doing it. Already did it once today. Don't remember what it was, but I've already done it once today. And then Cass, I listened to one of her podcast episodes today. She's the Clutterbug Podcast. Again, not a fan of the Clutterbug thing because it's identifying her as clutter. She's associated with clutter, and I totally get it. I mean, those of us who are looking for help, we're probably not looking for help with making space. We're probably looking like, I have clutter, please help me. So it makes sense. But anyway, this podcast that I was listening to of hers, this episode, she was actually referring to someone else who is in the industry. And he's got this little, I don't know if it's a tagline, but it's an acronym called GETMO. GETMO space. GETMO done. But it's an acronym for good enough to move on. And I'm emotional about this, apparently. But, it's talking about doing things half-assed sometimes. Because, it's kind of like what I'm talking about, just getting something done rather than stressing out about the planning, taking time for the planning, putting things off because, I've got to plan it. Good enough to move on. So if I do something on my list, just choosing it, just doing it because I'm inspired, because I'm motivated to do that now, I'm getting enough done to move on. Now I can check that thing off. I don't have to think about it anymore. It's not on my list anymore. I can move on. And yeah, I love that too. I love that too. And I love the acronym GETMO Done. So yeah, and Brooke actually talks about this too. Her way of talking about it, even though she's huge on planning and I love the way she does it. Like I said, I've done that process. I love the process. Right now, I'm too stuck to do it. But good enough to move on right now, implementing that right now will get me that dopamine rush, will get me that hit. I will see progress and I will get to the point where I'm not stuck, where I can do the planning and be more efficient and actually really get more done. But yeah, Brooke calls it B work. I'm sorry, not B work, B- work. She's talking about some of us, get stuck in perfection. And I guess when I was putting things off, saying, no, I've got to do the planning, that was me trying to be perfect. But a lot of us get stuck in perfection. And so we don't do anything. It's the same as the overwhelm. We don't do anything. Or with the perfection, we'll we'll do it, but then no, it's not quite right. We have to do this, and oh, now we need this, and I've done this like with, let's say, a website, for example. It's like, no, it's got to be perfect. It's like, no, that's not quite the right feel. No, that's not the quite the right way to say it, And so I still just don't put it out there. And Brooke says, do the B- work. Get it done good enough to put out. And then if you've got time, because she was mostly talking about timing and deadlines, and it's like, anyway, and then if you've got time, if you haven't gotten to the deadline yet, or something clears up in your calendar, then you can go back. You can go back and you can tweak it and you can make it nicer. You can make it closer to perfect, but at least get the work out. Get it done, So yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was like, yeah, that's Brooke's version of GETMO Done. So anyway, that's Cass and the Clutterbug Podcast. And then, also, I'm getting stuck. But another thing, I'm going to have to go back to it myself. And so I'm not going to really go into detail because, well, you can check out the video yourself. Like I said, I'm going to put a link. But this is also in Cass's, it's the same episode. So in the beginning, she was talking about GETMO. And at the end, she talked about this kitchen success path. Because she's claiming, and apparently the three of these ladies, this is something that they agree on, is that the kitchen is the key to everything. I'm not sure it is for me, but I can't argue it. I do accumulate paper clutter there. I have clutter here on the other side of this computer that you can't see, because I want to say because I'm in process of switching my bedroom and my studio, but my current studio it's a total disaster. And I'm just kind of bringing the same stuff here for right now. But anyway, so anyway, at the end of this podcast episode, Cass talks about the kitchen success path. And it's also along the lines of GETMO Done, good enough to move on. So she talks about 5 groups: dishes and tidy, clear counters, decluttering, zoning, and organization. So each one is just kind of taking it up a notch. So the very minimum, the very minimum of get enough to good enough. I keep getting stuck on the get part of Mo. Good enough to move on. The first part of get enough to move. Good enough. Oh my goodness. So the first part of implementing good enough to move on in this kitchen success path is dishes and tidying. And again, I'm not going to go into detail with that. But then once you've got that skill, once you've got that under control and you feel good about that, you can take it up a notch to clearing counters. And then the dishes and tidying and the clearing the counters are good enough to move on. Once you've got that, you feel good about that. You've got that under control. Maybe it takes you a week, maybe it takes you a month of doing it relatively regularly, and then you can move on to the next level, which is decluttering, and then again, zoning and organization. So, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. And I was thinking, you know what? This would apply in any room in the house. I mean, I understand her recommending that you start in the kitchen, if in fact that is a hot spot, for you. But hell, any place is a good start as far as I'm concerned, But Oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, but yeah, I was thinking that is a great way to approach any room in the house or any space in the house, like a closet. Um, but anyway, so there's all that. And Dawn of the Minimal Mom and the Minimal Mom podcast, I didn't find a specific video that really stood out to me. I think mainly because it's been so long since I've watched her videos, that I don't remember what might have really stood out for me that she does. So I may revisit that, but I'll still put the link to her channel in the description. And that's a wrap for today. I have my private coaching call in 20 minutes. Oh my goodness, I started to think I was late. So I've got my private coaching call in 20 minutes where I am going to address what I was talking about several days ago about all this emotion that has come up, all these unkind thoughts, unproductive thoughts that I apparently have about and toward myself. So I'm really excited to finally address that and hopefully come away with, what do I do with these thoughts? What do I do with these feelings? So I'm excited about that, and I'll let you know about it tomorrow. So anyway, like I said, that's a wrap. Talk to you later. Bye.